Hello. In this video, we will learn about payback period calculation in Excel.
Let's look at calculating the payback period in Excel for an investment. So basically the payback period is the amount of time it takes to recover the cost of an investment. And effectively that means it's the point at which the cumulative cash flows of a project equals 0. So here we have a project that has initial investment of $250,000 and these are the cash flows from year 1 to year 5. And we want to find the break-even point of this project. So first thing we need to do is we can calculate the cumulative cash flows of this project. So I can use a sum function equals sum, and then I want for the up to year 1, I want from D10 to E10, and I can close the bracket. And when I'm copying across, I want the initial cell reference D10's D to be fixed because I want to always refer to the beginning cash flow, but I want 10 to change when I copy it across. So I can use F4 and use a mixed cell reference where I will fix the D with a $sign and let the 10 be changing as a mixed cell reference. And then when I come to the E10 cell reference, when I copy it across, I want E to change, but I want the 10 or the row number here to be fixed. So what I can do is I can then press F4 until I get a dollar in front of the 10 only. So this is my formula. I will control enter and copy it across like this. Okay. So here if I check the formula on the second cell, so cumulative cash flows are from the beginning year 0 to up to here. So that's correct. And for the other cells also the formula is correct. And get rid of this error marks by clicking ignore error. So I have calculated the cumulative cash flows. So I see now between year 2 where it was a negative value and year 3 where it has become a positive value, I should get the break-even point. So somewhere between year 2 and year 3 is our payback period. So it's greater than 2 years but less than 3 years. So I can calculate this manually by doing it this way. So I know from year 2 the cumulative cash flow was negative 50,000 and year 3 it became a positive 50,000, and somewhere in between is the payback point or the break-even point where the cumulative cash flow has become 0. So and also I know that from year 2 to year 3 the total cash flow was 100,000. So if I apportion this cash flow evenly across this period, I can calculate the break-even point. So it will be year 3 or basically 3 years minus this portion of the cash flow until 0. So here from 0 to 50,000 there is a difference of 50,000. So I can take that difference 50,000, and if I want I can put a bracket like this. So from here it's basically 50,000. So from the 0 point up to here there was 50,000 cash flow, and if I apportion this across the total period from year 2 to year 3, it was 100,000. So as a proportion, it's 50,000 divided by 100,000. That is the fraction that I need to reduce from 3 to get the payback period. So I'm reducing the period from this 0 point to the end of the year 3 by taking 50,000 and dividing that by 100,000 to get the fraction of the year I need to reduce from 3 years. So from this calculation, I find the break-even point is 2.5 years. So that is the payback period of this project. So here I have calculated this manually, but let's see how we can use formulas in Excel to calculate this whenever the cash flows change and the time period changes. So we'll do this step by step. The first step to calculate is when the cumulative cash flows become positive. So that's where the break-even point or the payback period is. So we can use a formula like this. We can use whether E11 is greater than or equal to 0. So here we'll type that formula. We'll take E11 greater than or equal to 0. And I will copy it across. So I get a false here. It's not greater than 0. It's negative. So if I copy it across like this, I find that somewhere between in year 3, it has become positive or true. So thereafter it's positive. So here I can use this kind of a formula to find out when the cash flow becomes positive. Then to find out the first year when the positive cash flow happens, I can use a match function like this. So I'll type a match function over here equals match, and then the lookup value is true because I want to find the true or the positive value, and then I can give the lookup array like this, and then I want exact match, so I can use 0. So from this I find the positive value in number terms is year 3. So here's, this is 1, 2, like that. This is the third year, cumulative cash flow becomes positive. So this formula function I can use to find the first year when the cash flow becomes positive. So now I know it's year 3. Then at the end of year 3, I know the cumulative cash flow has become 50,000. So its break-even point or the payback period is between year 2 and year 3. So again, if I come down here, so earlier we manually calculated the payback period here. So here, if I take this whole period from year 2 to year 3, so we can say this proportion from the payback period 0 to 50,000, we'll call that X. So from 0 to 50,000, the cash flow difference is 50,000 from 0 to 50,000, and I will call that X. So that's basically the equal to the year 3 cumulative cash flow. And then from year 2 to year 3, the total period, we had cash flows of 100,000. So we'll call that Y. So the payback period will be 3 years minus this X, this 50,000, divided by Y, this 100,000. So that's what we did manually as well. So to find the value of X by using formulas, we can use this formula equals offset then we go to the cumulative cash flow over here, this cell, and then I put a comma, and I want to remain inside the same row, so I will put a 0, and from here I want to go until I find the true value or the positive value. So I need to go basically 3 cells until I get the year 3 positive cumulative cash flow. So I can then close this and press enter, and I get 50,000. So basically what this function does is it goes from this version, the starting year, the number of years until the positive cash flow occurs, that is 3 years, and then gets that value that is located over here. So it's 50,000. That is the year 3 cumulative cash flow. So I have basically found the X value using this function, 50,000. So 50,000 here is the X value. So now I need to find the Y value. So I can use another offset function equals offset, and the reference cell will be here. We are going by cash flow now, D10, comma, and for rows I need to keep inside the same row, I put 0, and then the number of columns I need to go is 1, 2, 3 until I go to the positive cumulative cash flow here. So I can use this cell as the cell reference for that. So then I get 100,000. So I got the Y value as well. So now I have found, using offset function, the X value and then the Y value. So the offset function, basically what it does is, from a reference point cell like D10, it can go a given number of rows or columns and then find the value located there. So we have used the offset function here to go the number of years we want, in this case 3 years, from this starting point over here, and to capture the cumulative cash flow value X, and then the after tax cash flow value Y, that is the 100,000. So I have got these two values. Now I can calculate the payback period. So payback period is equal to this 3 minus the X from here divided by the Y over here. So let's do the number formatting. I got 2.5 years basically is when I have the payback period. So now that we are clear on how we did the calculation, we can straight away do the calculation over here. So here we have a match function which found the year when it became basically positive, the cumulative cash flow. So here, if I write the formula, it's equal to 3 years minus, now I have to find the X, so I can write a offset function, and I start from here, D11, and I go 0 rows and 3 columns. And I divide that is X, by the Y. I need another offset function to find Y. And again, I start from here and I go 0 rows and 3 columns. Then I get the same result here now. If I want, I can basically substitute this match function into the E over here. So if I substitute that, or I can just use a match function over here, equals match. So the lookup value here, what I want to find is true. And then I want to find that in this range. And I want an exact match. So 0. So this is the final function I need to write when I want to find payback period. The initial match function will find the year when the cash flow has become positive. So the offset functions we have used to get the proportion of the year that corresponds to the value that we need to reduce from the year. So we are taking cash flow, we are assuming cash flows are occurring evenly throughout the year 3. And we want to find from this 0 point somewhere in the middle until year 3, what is the fraction we need to reduce out of that full year. So we get 2.5. So now this formula, when the cash flows change or when the timeline changes, we can just change the cell references here and it will automatically update. So like here, we don't have to manually calculate for each of the cash flows and then the time periods separately. So this is a kind of a universal formula you can use depending on how the cash flows and then timeline differs. So this is, Excel doesn't have inbuilt payback period function, so we can use this as our own custom function to calculate payback period.
Thanks for watching.